can see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we were doing looping statements, right? That is other name for loops is iteration statements. So in a previous class we discussed about for loop, right? And in today's class we will discuss about while loop. Now, just a quick review. What are loops? Loop statements allows you to set it allows you a set of instructions to be performed repeatedly. Whenever you want to perform certain action again and again, in spite of writing those instructions again and again, what you can do, you can set a loop and you can keep all those statements that needs to be executed within the curly brackets and they can be performed repeatedly. These were the parts of a loop. Each loop, may it be for loop or while or do while, all the loops they are having these four parts. Initialization expression is there, text expression is there, update expression is there, and body of the loop. So these four terms were explained to you in the previous class. I hope these are clear. Next, these are the loops. For loop we discussed, and today we are going to do while loop. So when we were doing for loops, you might have noticed that in for loop we give initial count also and we give final count also, because means in for loop you know that how many times this instruction or the set of instructions has to be executed. You know exactly the number of repetitions to be uh, like made. You know that I want to repeat it 5 times or 10 times or 7 times. So in those cases where you know the exact number of repetitions to be performed, you can set for loop, right? Because in for loop you are supposed to give the initial count and you are supposed to give the final count also. That is, you set no, for I is equal to 0 and I is equal to less than 7 and all. So that way for loop is set. Now in while loop, what do? You give a specific condition, right? And it checks the condition and accordingly it enters the loop, right? So this is the syntax while loop का जो syntax है, that is you write while. This is an entry control loop. Loop or not, that is checked at the entry point. If condition is true, then only control enters the loop, and if condition is false, control does not enter the loop, and all those statements which are written inside the loop, they will never be executed. So this loop is your entry control, because here condition is applied at the entry point and it is evaluated at the entry point only. Based on the evaluation, that is, whenever you evaluate an expression in computers, either you get true or you get false. All the logical expressions, they are evaluated either to true or to false. And based on that, if evaluation is true, then control enters the loop, and if evaluation is false, control does not enter the loop. So this is the syntax. This while is what? This while is a reserved word, right? This cannot be changed. You cannot write this W as capital, or you cannot use caps lock letters to write this while. So this while is keyword of C. Exactly, it has to be right. It has to be written in the same way, the way it is written here. That is all the small letters. So this while is a reserved word. Here you write a condition, any, it can be any condition, any logical condition using those less than equal to signs or greater than equal to signs. That is comparison operators you can use here to write an expression, right? And then these are the statements. Okay, these are the statements which will be executed. Now this is, we we can have infinite loops also. Infinite loop कौन सा loop हो गया? अगर आपकी condition कभी भी false नहीं होती है, the condition that you are applying here, अगर वो कभी भी false नहीं होती है तो क्या होगा? आपका program हर बार loop के अंदर जाएगा और उसको कभी भी लूप के बाहर आने का मौका नहीं मिलेगा. इट विल नेवर कम आउट ऑफ द लूप, because every time your computer reaches here, it evaluates the expression. Every time expression is evaluated to true, and every time program control enters the loop. So at the closing point of the loop, again it will go back to check here, again it will enter the loop, again it will go back. So this kind of loops which cannot come out of the loop are called as infinite loops. So a loop is called infinite loop if the loop repetition condition is always true. Here, if condition is always true, every time loop control will enter the loop, and it will never come out of the loop, right? So accordingly, you have to make use of some other statements in this case. What are those statements? I'll tell you later. Fine. Now this is a snippet, code snippet, जिसमें I have written while. Okay, this is the condition, this is a keyword, this is the condition. What is the condition? That I less than 5. So जब तक ये condition true रहेगी, your program control will execute all these statements which are written inside these curly brackets. ये while loop है. This is starting point of the while loop, and this is the ending point of your while loop. This entire thing is called as body of the loop. This is beginning of the loop, this is closing of the loop. So entire body shall be executed till this condition evaluates to true. Now this code or this body of the loop will be प्रोग्राम कंट्रोल विल कम आउट ऑफ दिस जब ये कंडीशन आपकी फॉल्स होती है. तो ये कंडीशन डिपेंड करता है कि व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ आई. जब तक आपकी आई की वैल्यू लेस देन 5 रहेगी, तब तक ये लूप आपका एग्जीक्यूट होता रहेगा. ऑलराइट. नाउ इन दिस प्रोग्राम जब आप व्हाइल लूप यूज करते हो, तो जो भी ये वेरिएबल आप यहाँ पे यूज कर रहे हो, दिस वेरिएबल has to be either scanned or it has to be initialized. क्योंकि यहाँ पे in this parenthesis you are not giving any initial value to this, as we were doing in for loop. For में हम initial value देते थे ना, for I is equal to 0 and then I less than 5 and then I plus plus. There initialization, updation, evaluation, everything we were giving in a single line जहाँ पे आप for loop start करते हो. Here in this case, we are not writing any initialization expression here. That means we are not initializing this variable here, right? तो ये variable आपको या तो ऊपर कहीं initialize करना है या फिर आपको इसको scan करना पड़ेगा, right? और loop के अंदर ही इस variable को increment भी करना पड़ेगा, right? For में यहीं पे हो जाता था इस bracket के अंदर. In while you have to write the statement separately. Automatically updation nahi hogi, you need to increment this variable that you are using here, right? तो यहाँ पे it will execute this, it will display this message to you. Then you, being a user, you have to enter a number, then it will calculate the total, and then it will take you to the next line, right? Because you are not writing anything, you're not displaying anything, you're simply writing cout, and then you are not writing any variable, you are simply writing endl. So cout endl will give you a blank line, मतलब एक blank line मिलेगी आपको, it will not print anything. Then you are updating this counter, इसको control variable को we call as a counter also, we call it as a counter also, we can say it as a control variable also, right? तो इसको यहाँ पे अपडेट किया है. एंड देन व्हाई डू वी अपडेट दिस? क्योंकि अगर आप इसको अपडेट नहीं करोगे तो ये आई जो है ये कभी भी अपडेट नहीं होगा. इट विल ऑलवेज रिमेन 1 या 2, जो भी आपने इसकी इनिशियल वैल्यू दी होगी. इफ सपोज यू आर इनिशियलाइजिंग दिस आई as 1 here, तो every time this loop will execute. if you are not updating this, तो i की वैल्यू कभी भी अपडेट नहीं होगी और ये हमेशा आपका 2 रहेगा या 1 रहेगा, एंड इट विल बिहेव एज एन इनफाइनाइट लूप, राइट? सो इंक्रीमेंट करना इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट हियर इन दिस व्हाइल लूप. This is how does this program execute. This is the working flow of your while loop. Here program flow is entering this while statement. So here at the entry point only condition is evaluated, and if condition is true, statements are executed, and if condition is false, loop is skipped and you move on to the next line, which is written exactly below the body of the loop. Okay, so this is another program जिसमें what are you doing here? You are simply initializing a counter j, right? This is a variable j. You are declaring it as an integer, and then you are setting this value as -5. Value of j is set for -5, and then you are setting a loop while j is less than equal to 0. Okay, now in this case, जब आप j की वैल्यू लेस देन 0 के साथ चेक कर रहे हो, कंपेयर कर रहे हो, now here j is what? -5. So -5 is less than equal to 0. This condition is true, no? This condition is true, so this program will enter the loop, right? Now here, this is statement of C basically. Here you have to write C out. और जब आप j प्रिंट करोगे तो j की वैल्यू -5 है, you will get -5 on the screen, and then you are updating j. j की वैल्यू पहले -5 है, then -5 plus 1 कितना हो जाएगा? -4, right? Now j is -4. Again it will check. So -4 is again less than equal to 0. It will display you -4, right? Then again it will check. It will display you -3, -2, -1, and finally, when it becomes 0, it will display you 0, and then it will exit the loop, right? Because here you are checking for less than is equal to. अगर ये is equal to का साइन नहीं लगाएंगे तो ये वाला 0 जो है ये नहीं मिलेगा, ऑलराइट? बिकॉज जब ये 0 हो जाएगा तो ये कंडीशन फॉल्स हो जाएगी इफ दिस इक्वल टू साइन इज नॉट देयर. तो जैसे ही आपकी कंडीशन फॉल्स होगी, इट विल कम आउट ऑफ द लूप. This is done. This also. Now next we have do while. Now in while we are checking the condition at the entry point. Here in do while we check the condition at the exit point, because I told you we have entry controlled loops and we have exit controlled loops. जो entry controlled loops हैं वहाँ पे it is decided at the entry point whether program control will enter the loop or not, right? And जो आपके exit controlled loops हैं वहाँ पे first program control enters the loop, then it checks the condition. Enter करता है, body को एक बार execute करते हैं, and then at the exit point of the loop it checks whether again it has to enter the loop or not. तो इस केस में आपका एक बार प्रोग्राम कंट्रोल जो है वो एक बार जरूरी ही बॉडी के अंदर से उसको एग्जीक्यूट करेगा, बॉडी ऑफ द लूप को. It will execute, and then for the next iteration, or you can say when your loop has to be executed second time, then it checks for the condition, and if that condition evaluates to true, then it goes back to the loop again, and it again enters the loop, and if condition evaluates to false, it comes out of the loop. So that is the main difference while or do while में. While में condition is checked all right this way. This is your do while loop. Do while में I'll take up from here. Do while में ऊपर लिखोगे do. This is also a keyword, fixed word. You cannot change the spellings, you cannot alter, you cannot write capital D, capital O, nothing. It has to be written as it is. Do, and then braces, then whatever you are going to write here to frame the body of the loop, all those statements, and then here at the exit, यहाँ पे आपका body का जो body of the loop है, here at this brace, that is closing, no? This is beginning point of your loop, this is closing point of your loop. So this is the condition. Condition again is checked with while, but it is checked at the exit point. ठीक है, while में ये यहाँ पे चेक हो जाती है, डू नहीं होता. यहाँ पे सीधा ये while आप यहाँ पे लिखते हो और उसके बाद बॉडी ऑफ द लूप आता है. वेयर एज इन डू while आप डू लिखते हो, उसके बाद उसकी बॉडी बनाते हो डू while की, एंड देन कंडीशन इज चेक्ड एट द एग्जिट ऑफ द लूप, राइट? सो दिस इज द मेन डिफरेंस. देन वी हैव नेस्टेड लूप्स. नेस्टेड लूप्स कौन से लूप्स होते हैं? जब आप लूप के अंदर लूप बनाते हो, वी कॉल इट एज ए नेस्टेड लूप. नाउ फॉर लूप की अगर हम बात करें, तो दिस इज वन फॉर लूप, राइट? देन within this for loop you can set another loop, okay? और ये वाला जो लूप है जो बाद में सेट करते हो, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज इनर लूप. और जो लूप पहले सेट करते हो, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज आउटर लूप. पहले ना, जब आपके पास दो लूप्स हैं, इन केस ऑफ नेस्टेड लूप्स, आपका जो इनर लूप है दैट इज executed first and then outer loop is executed, okay? So nested loops consist of an outer loop, okay, with one or more inner loops. Now in this case here I'm setting two loops, I j. I can have one more k also, I can have one more l also. So that is up to me कि मुझे अपने प्रोग्राम में कितने लूप्स चाहिए. यूजिंग फॉर you can set any number of loops in your program. So if you are setting a loop within a loop, if we call it as a nested loop. अगर हमारे प्रोग्राम में दो loops हैं, suppose here I'm starting, now this is the loop, no? This is loop, this is first loop, right? This is for loop, and here control variable is I. Okay, so this is one for loop. Now this is another for loop where control variable is j, right? So in this case, here I'm beginning I loop, okay? ये I की बॉडी स्टार्ट हुई यहाँ से, और उसके बाद I की बॉडी के अंदर मैंने एक और फॉर लूप लिखा, और उसकी मैंने कोई बॉडी के ब्रैकेट्स नहीं दिए हैं, बिकॉज उसमें एक ही स्टेटमेंट है, एंड दैट इज सी आउट. एंड यू नो दैट सिंगल स्टेटमेंट कैन बी रिटन विदाउट brackets also. So this statement is body of j loop, okay? And this one is body of I loop. तो in this case आपका जो j loop है वो I के अंदर है, तो we call it as inner loop and this is outer loop. अगर मेरा I loop यहाँ स्टार्ट होके यहाँ पे खत्म हो जाता है एंड आफ्टर दैट आई एम सेटिंग j loop, तब हम उसको नेस्टेड लूप नहीं बोल सकते. ऑलराइट? अगर एक लूप ऊपर खत्म हो जाता है एंड देन यू आर हैविंग 2-3 more loops in your program, we cannot call them as nested loops. Nested वो तभी बनते हैं अगर एक लूप के अंदर आप एक और लूप बना रहे हो. तो is that okay? When we will do the program, it will be much clear to you. Then we have go to statement. Go to statement is to jump to a particular line. किसी एक पर्टिकुलर लाइन पे अगर आपको जंप करना है, देन यू नीड टू मेक यूज ऑफ दिस गो टू स्टेटमेंट. गो टू स्टेटमेंट के साथ हमेशा आपको एक लेबल लिखना पड़ेगा. लेट्स से गो टू 10 और 20, so that 10 and 20, or you can say go to start, so that start or 10 or 20, whatever you write here, we call it as a label, okay? और जहां पे भी आपने जंप कराना है वहां पे उस पर्टिकुलर लाइन पे दैट सेम लेबल हैज टू बी रिटन ऑल्सो. वहां पे लेबल लिख के कॉलन लगाओगे. जिस भी लाइन पे वो लेबल होगा, योर कंट्रोल जंप्स बैक और जंप go to that particular location. Break is to come out of the loop. ये हमने कर लिया हुआ है switch के साथ, so you know about this command, right? Then we have break. Break only is given here. We have done it. I don't think that we need time to waste on it. Break आपको मालूम है. This is again break. Then we have continue. Continue statement is to continue, right? Is to continue. अगर आपको कोई एक पर्टिकुलर लूप है जो खत्म हो जाता है, तो खत्म होने के बाद what happens? It automatically it comes out, no? So if you do not want to exit a loop, if you want to continue with that, then you can make use of this continue. Continue statement works somewhat like the break statement. For the for loop, continue causes the conditional test and incremental portion of the loop to execute, and for the while and do while loops, program control passes to the conditional test. We will do it practically and then it will be much clear, right? So this, you know, this we have done, okay? This also we have done. So now let's do it practically. We'll do some practical, fine, and then let me stop this share. Sorry, I'll close it, and then let me have this. Let me see far it works. So we will write a program using what? What are we going to write? We what we have to write? Which statement? I hope you can see the screen. Just confirm me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what are we going to do?
Ma'am, int void.
Huh?
Int void.
No. What? Okay. So these are the two mandatory statements which have to be there. And then third line, what do we need to write? We need to write int main. Okay. Then curly brackets. So I'm going to demonstrate you the use of while now, right? So I told you that in while loop, what do? We have to initialize first. We have to initialize whatever variable I'm going to use as counter. Okay. Now let me say, because in our previous class we were using I as a counter. So here also let's make use of I only, not to confuse ourselves. So we will declare a variable int I, right? Now this
Yes.
I variable, I'm going to use this I variable as my counter variable. Okay. तो while loop अगर हमने लगाना है तो हम क्या करते हैं? We write while, right? While, and here we write condition. So let me say I less than 10. Okay. While I less than 10 का मतलब है कि जब तक I की वैल्यू लेस देन 10 रहेगी, ये लूप जो है ये एग्जीक्यूट होता रहेगा. ऑलराइट. और लूप के अंदर मैंने क्या लिखा? आई कैन राइट एनीथिंग टू फ्रेम द बॉडी ऑफ द लूप. व्हाट शैल आई राइट? लेट अस से हम आई की वैल्यू ही डिस्प्ले करवाते हैं, राइट? तो क्या लिखेंगे? सी आउट. हाउ विल आई डिस्प्ले द वैल्यू ऑफ आई? What to write if I want to have the value of I on the screen? What shall I write? Tell me quickly. Come on, be quick. To have value of I on the screen, what do I need to write here? See out. Are you going to guide me or not? I is equal. Now, I have written I is equal within these quotation marks. Now, if I write something within these quotation marks, do I get the value on the screen or I will get this as a message on the screen? Ananya, how will I get it on the screen? Will I get value of I or
No,
I will get hmm,
no, a message.
I will get I is equal. I will get this thing exactly on the screen जो भी मैंने quotation marks के अंदर लिखा है, right? Now if I want to have the value, then what do I need to have? I need to have this operator and I, plain I need to write. Now, when I write this I like this I is taken as a variable. If I write within quotes, this I is taken as a message. Quotation के अंदर जो भी लिखोगे, उसको आपका computer as a message लेगा and it will display that thing as it is on the screen. So here I'm writing cout I, okay. And then I told you that we have to write incremental statement also within the loop. So I is equal to I plus 1. Writing this, what am I doing? I am incrementing value of the control variable. All set? Done? This much only, or do I need to write something else also?
Return 0.
Return 0. Yes. What else? Shall we run it? Will it run? What do you say? Will it run?
Yes, ma'am.
Ananya, will it run?
Yes, ma'am.
No, it will not run. I'll tell you. It must give some problem. Okay, fine. See, what was the problem actually? We did not initialize I. So this I has been initialized by the computer itself, right? So let me break this line here. If I want to, here what am I getting? I'm getting I is equal to 0, I is equal to 1, everything on the same line, no? So if I want to break this line, what will I write? What shall I
And
add? And
and
L. Okay, and L. Now if I run this program, I will get I is equal to 1, I is equal to 2. This way I will get all these values here on the output screen, right? Now the thing is that it is giving me I is equal to 9. Last value is I is equal to 9, because when it increments the value, okay, when it increments the value of I to 10, जब I is equal to 10 हो गया, your control goes back here and it checks the condition while I less than 10. तो ये कंडीशन फॉल्स हो जाती है, बिकॉज 10 इज नॉट लेस देन 10. 10 लेस देन 10 को आप ट्रू मार्क करते हो कि फॉल्स? सपोज मैनुअली यू आर डूइंग एंड इट इज रिटन 10 लेस देन 10, what do you say, this condition is true or false?
Ma'am,
false.
false.
False, no? So when this I becomes 10, this condition evaluates to false, and when it evaluates to false, it does not enter this loop. और printing जो है वो तो loop के अंदर हो रखी है ना, that's why I is equal to 10 जो है वो screen पे display नहीं होता है, because printing is done inside the loop. And then it is checking, it is incrementing, it is checking. अगर यहाँ पे is equal to भी लगाओगे, सपोज यहाँ पे इज इक्वल टू लिखते हो, then in this case it will give you I is equal to 10 also, because then that condition becomes true, because I is less than is equal to 10 and condition becomes true. So in that case you will get counts from 0 to 10, and next time when 1 is added to this, यहाँ पे आ गया 10. Okay, now after printing 10, your I is incremented to 11, that is 10 plus 1 11, and when it goes back here तो कंडीशन चेक होती है तो वो फॉल्स हो जाता है, बिकॉज I is less than equal to 10 जो है, this condition is false now because I has become 11. तो ऑटोमेटिकली इट कम्स आउट ऑफ द लूप, और लूप के अंदर आप यहाँ पे लूप के बाहर आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है, टू चेक दिस व्हाट कैन यू डू, you can write one more C out statement. So what to write? Control has been shifted outside the loop. Any message you can write because it is going to appear as a message only, right? So handle की जगह पे आप slash n भी use कर सकते हो. Now if you run this, it will give server is not responding. Lost connection to server. Let me run it again. Taking too long. So this basic idea is clear to you, I think so. Is it clear? Basic idea is clear to you?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Now suppose I want to have, now this program was giving me counting from 0 to 10, right? Now suppose I do not want to have all the numbers. If I want to have uh, skip counting by 4, what to do? If I want to have skip counting by 4, what to do? I want Here initial value is what? Initial value is 0 only, no? Initial value of I, let me set it to 1. If I'm setting this initial value I to 1, right? And if I want to have 1, 4, right? Then 7, then 10 on the screen. What change do I need to make? Here in this program, if I want to have 1, 4, 7 and 10 on the screen. Write on your notebook, if you want to have 1, 4, 7 and 10 on the screen, what change do you need to make here in this program? Now, which variable is holding all these values? Which variable is holding all these numbers? I
I.
variable only, I only, no? So the value of I has to be incremented by how many counts if you want to have 1, 4, 7 and 10. Manually just observe that series 1, 4, 7, 10 की जो series है, manually if you observe this, what is common in all this? Common क्या है इसमें?
Ma'am,
1,
different
4, 7
three.
difference कितना है difference?
Ma'am, 3.
3. So here I need to make a change. I do not need to increment it by 1. I have to increment it by 3, right? So if I increment this by 3 and then if I run it, connecting to the server. So it will give me 1, 4, 7 and 10. See here, this is not running actually. Maybe there is some problem in the connection only, because it is not showing me the connection. It is telling connecting to the server and never connecting. So if I make this change and if I execute this program, it will give me 1, 4, 7 and 1 second. There is some problem. I'm not getting connection, proper connection, right? So it is not saving also. So this will give you one. You just write down this code, depend on this one statement only. That if you increment this I by 3, you will get 1, 4, 7 and 10 on the screens. Otherwise, you do one thing. You write on your screen all these statements quickly. Open GDB. Both of you write these statements in GDB quickly, and then I'll ask you to share the screens. I'm giving you 2 to 3 minutes to copy all these statements. So write down, open GDB and write down this. Are you copying?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Copied or not?
Ma'am, copying.
Okay, you do one thing, take a, write in a notebook first, quickly, and then write down. Ronak written? Ronak, did you finish writing?
I'm writing.
Shall I change the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, Ananya, I want you to share the screen today.
Ma'am, I'm writing.
Okay, right? No, you share and write. No issues.
Okay,
You
ma'am.
share and write, right? Ronak, you also write quickly.
Yes, ma'am. Only one line left.
Okay, fine.
And then,
Okay, write quitting. Ananya, you write quitting here for the message.
Yes, ma'am.
You were writing one more message, no? That when it comes out of the loop, what shall it display? I said you write quitting there. For the message, you write quitting. That's what I said.
Okay, ma'am.
Ronak, your program is running.
yes, ma'am.
Did you get the output?
Now it is taking time.
Okay. Quitted. Write down. Control. Quitted. Codes are missing. Quotation marks are missing, Ananya.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, put semicolon also. Not this. Not this slash. Yes. Okay. Now you run.
Ma'am, connecting to server.
Okay.
Yes,
Ronak, did you get?
same with, same with me connecting to the server.
Same with you. So that means there is some problem. So you can stop sharing your screens. Let me share mine. Okay. So this is my screen. I hope you can see now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you will get this way: I is equal to 1, then 4, then 7, and then at the end, when value of I becomes 11, or you can say when it becomes I plus 3, we are writing, no? So it will never become 11. What it will become? I की वैल्यू 10 होने के बाद जब प्लस 3 हो जाएगा तो what it will become? यहाँ पे लास्ट इज 10, नो? आई प्लस 3 करते हो तो 10 हो रहा है. 1 प्लस 4 प्लस 7 प्लस 10. आफ्टर दैट जब इस लूप के बाहर आ जाएगा तो आई की वैल्यू कितनी होगी, बताओ जरा मुझे.
13.
13. तो देखते हैं कि जब लूप के बाहर आएगा यहाँ पे, तो अगर हम ये वाला आई डिस्प्ले करवाएं तो वी विल सी कि कितनी वैल्यू है उसकी. राइट, वी विल राइट वैल्यू ऑफ आई टू exit the loop, right? कितनी है, that is जो भी उसकी वैल्यू होगी, इट शैल डिस्प्ले दैट, वी विल सी कि ये होता है कि नहीं। तो जितनी देर तो वो ये कंडीशन ट्रू होती रहेगी, ये लूप एग्जीक्यूट होगा, यू मस्ट गेट ऑल दीज वैल्यूज ऑफ आई, राइट। और इसको नीचे लिखते हैं क्योंकि अदरवाइज ये दोनों एक साथ जुड़ जाएंगे तो पता ही नहीं चलेगा क्या हुआ। सो आई विल राइट हियर। नाउ लेट्स रन। Okay, so in this case I is equal to 1 is equal to 4 then 7 and 10। और जब ये कंडीशन फॉल्स हो गई तो ये लूप के बाहर आ जाएगा। लूप के बाहर आके इट इज डिस्प्लेइंग फर्स्ट मैसेज जो आपने लिखा था लूप के बाहर। क्या लिखा था फर्स्ट मैसेज? यही है ना, लूप के बाहर आएगा तो आएगा कंट्रोल हैज बीन शिफ्टेड आउटसाइड द लूप। So this is the message that you are getting when your program exits the loop, right? When it comes out of the loop, this is the statement that it will execute। और उसके बाद value of I to exit the loop is 13। जब वो loop को exit कर रहा है तो I की value कितनी हो चुकी है? 13। But it is not printing I is equal to 13 क्योंकि printing जो है that is done inside the loop। Are you getting my point? What did I say?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, so this was the case when you are using while loop। अब अगर हम ये सेम चीज को डू से करेंगे तो हम डू से कैसे करेंगे? डू में आई टोल्ड यू सबसे ऊपर हम क्या लिखते हैं? डू, राइट। सो लेट अस डू दैट। यहाँ पे लिखेंगे डू, राइट। डू लिखना है, डू के बाद आपका लूप चलेगा। लूप ऐसे ही लगाओगे, डू दिस दिस एंड देन आई को भी इंक्रीमेंट करोगे। और यहाँ पे आपके लूप की जो बॉडी है यहाँ पे खत्म हो रही है तो यहाँ पे आप कंडीशन लगाते हो, राइट। ऐसे ही लिखते हैं ना, डू लिखते हैं पहले एंड कंडीशन इज चेक्ड एट द एग्जिट पॉइंट। दिस इज एग्जिट पॉइंट। हियर वी आर चेकिंग फॉर वैल्यू ऑफ आई लेस देन इक्वल टू 10, राइट। अब इसको रन करके देखेंगे। ओ सॉरी, here I did not write the semicolon, here I have to write this। Okay, so let me show you। I is equal to 1 4 7 10। control has been shifted outside the loop, value of I is 13। same you are getting, right। अब इसमें देखो अगर आपकी कंडीशन फॉल्स हो जाती है, बिकॉज जब कंडीशन आपकी ट्रू है तब तो ये लूप चल ही रहा है। नाउ लेट अस टेक एन एग्जांपल कि जहां पे ये कंडीशन आपकी पहली बार में ही फॉल्स हो जाए। I is equal to 1। सपोज मैं यहाँ पे लिखूं I want to run this जब तक value of I is less than 1। Now if I set this kind of condition, right, if I set this kind of condition where I'm writing I is less than 1, तो मतलब कि ये लूप कब तक चलना चाहिए? जब तक I की वैल्यू लेस देन 1 है, राइट। नाउ इन दिस केस ये I की वैल्यू लेस देन 1 हम बाद में चेक करेंगे, बट उसके हिसाब से ये वाला जो लूप है ये पहले एग्जीक्यूट हो जाएगा एंड देन इट विल चेक फॉर द वैल्यू ऑफ I, राइट। वी विल रन दिस नाउ। Okay, so in this case we are not, see, we are getting value of I is equal to 1। I'm going to delete all this first, otherwise it will create confusion for you। Let me delete this also। Okay, now what did we do? I simply wrote a statement do, and then in the body of the loop I simply wrote one statement, that is cout value of I, and I'm printing value of I, और value of I कितनी है? That is 1। and I want to run this loop जब तक I की वैल्यू लेस देन 1 हो। नाउ यहाँ पे इस लूप में आई की वैल्यू लेस देन 1 है क्या? इज इट लेस देन 1? यू आर इनिशियलाइजिंग आई एज 1, तो दिस कंडीशन इज ट्रू और फॉल्स? ये लूप जो है ये चलना चाहिए कि नहीं चलना चाहिए भाई? आपका ये जो लूप है इसको चलना चाहिए था कि नहीं चलना चाहिए था? बिकॉज व्हाट इज द कंडीशन? आप इस लूप को सिर्फ तब चलाना चाहते हो जब तक आई की वैल्यू लेस देन 1 है, और इस प्रोग्राम के अंदर आपके आई की वैल्यू लेस देन 1 कभी भी नहीं है, बिकॉज आपकी आई की इनिशियल वैल्यू ही कितनी है? 1। ओके, सो ये जो आपका लूप है इट मस्ट नॉट एंटर द, इट मस्ट नॉट एग्जीक्यूट द बॉडी, इट मस्ट नॉट एंटर द लूप। प्रोग्राम कंट्रोल मस्ट नॉट एंटर द लूप, बट इस केस में वो एंटर कर जाते हैं, बिकॉज डू वाइल लूप में क्या होता है, पहले आपका लूप एग्जीक्यूट होता है, उसके बाद कंडीशन चेक होती है। तो एक बार तो आपका लूप चलेगा ही चलेगा, ये कंडीशन चाहे ट्रू होगी चाहे फॉल्स होगी, वंस this loop will run and then condition is evaluated, और उसके बाद अगर कंडीशन फॉल्स हो जाती है, it does not repeat the loop, it does not repeat the body of the loop, but once it runs. Did you get what is the difference?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sure?
Yes, ma'am.
पक्का?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so then I think enough for today, right? So we are over with the loops. We are over with all three loops. First loop आपका for था, right? Second loop is while, and third loop is do while. So we have done all the iteration statements also. We did conditional statements also. Conditional statements में we did if, right? If else, switch case, and in iterative statements we did loop, for loop, and we did while, and we did do while loop. तो अब इनको यूज करके देर आर प्लेंटी ऑफ प्रोग्राम्स विच कैन बी executed, which can be practiced. Okay, so I want you to practice. Now you tell me, you could not, still you could not access that classroom, no, जो हमने practicals के लिए बनाया था, still you could not access?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Okay, I don't know, I get your names there, but according to you, you say that you are not able to see anything. Okay, I'll check it once again. For the time being, you can practice your own programs then on this GDB. Fine?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So you want to ask something, or shall we wind up? Shall we wind up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.